Hello. So, welcome everybody to what seems will be the next level of my sharing online. I feel that there's a level of readiness and integration for all aspects of my psyche to be shared with you in any way that you may find that beneficial. And today's video was inspired on one of the biggest challenge that I still deal with in my life, which is addiction, the karmic imprint of having an addictive personality, and doesn't necessarily has to be to a substance. Like everything can be addictive: coffee, alcohol, a person, a situation, a thing, a feeling, a payoff. And how can we identify when we're in these patterns of addiction? Why are we deciding to indulge in these addictive patterns, and what can we do to choose differently so we can have a more harmonious, loving, and peaceful existence? So, addiction can be felt as any sense of compulsion or urgency. The goal, at least my goal, and if you're here, perhaps that's your goal too, is self-actualization and self-realization, to feel at peace with your environment, to feel at peace with what is, to feel happy, excited, alive, to do your calling work, to be your calling work, to have a business or work in your dream job or do something that makes you feel on fire. And addiction can be something that may hindrance your progress as you anchor yourself more and more in self-actualization. So catch yourself anytime you're in a loop. Perhaps the addiction can be to a thought process, feeling sense of superiority, like, oh, I know this, or like I'm the best and I know everything, and then there's no sense of humility. So that's really common, just for the ego to feel that it knows it all and it has it all under control. And the thing is, like, when we believe we have things under control, then we don't leave space for the miracles, we don't leave space for God, all that is, to work wonders through us. So that can be an addictive pattern. Another one can be food. If you feel like you wake up and the first thing that you want to do is have this amazing breakfast, that's cool, but how much of that comes from conditioning and feels like I just want to feel pleasure, and how much of that comes actually like, this is going to benefit my blueprint, this is going to benefit my calling work, this is going to benefit what I want to do in my life. So those little tricks. It can be with a relationship. Perhaps you're in a relationship dynamic that no longer serves you. I have had to let go of many dynamics and many relationships recently because they weren't aligned with the person I'm becoming, with the person I'm crystallizing. So catch yourself in your friends group, in your romantic relationship, in your coworkers, in any type of dynamic in your life. Are you addicted to a sense of security? Are you addicted to a sense of peace? Perhaps illusory peace? Are you feeling just okay? Because it's not about feeling just okay. If you can have anything, if you can be your highest self, what would you really choose in your friends group? Your energy is so precious. So who would you really allow to be in your field? And the more you heal, the more picky you are with the people you choose around, because you don't really need anyone or anything. It's kind of like how I feel. So I get to choose who I want to spend my time with more cautiously. I get to choose where I place my attention more cautiously. Because when we let go of needs, then we're just extending love from overflow. And then we magnetize dynamics that are more in alignment with that co-created nature. So what else can be addictive? Cigarettes, for example. Lately I've been smoking and I love it. And it's not coming from a compulsive behavior, it's coming from enjoyment. I enjoy a cigarette here and there. But for some people, it can be a compulsive behavior. It can be like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, so I'm gonna smoke. I'm feeling like I'm losing control, so I'm gonna smoke. And you can replace the cigarette for a drink or watching Netflix or whatnot. Anything that you're like feeling a little bit of anxiety and then you're gonna go do that thing, then that's the addictive pattern. So catch yourself in your thought process, like, why am I doing this? Why am I choosing to smoke a cigarette right now? Why am I choosing to have a pizza right now? Why am I choosing to go and binge watch a TV show? There's nothing wrong with watching TV shows. There's nothing wrong with having pizza or smoking or drinking. It's all about balance, the sweet middle. David or Hawkins, which it's my favorite spiritual teacher. I also really love Bentino Mazzaro. I like Eckhart Tolle. I like Byron Katie. Let's see. Yeah, some spiritual teachers that I enjoy. Neville Goddard, I love. And in this case, I was talking about Hawkins because he had the karmic imprint of addiction. And he said that he never left, even when he was enlightened in a level 1000 in the Hawkins scale of consciousness. He used to take his espresso machine to diners. Oh my God, I love diners. If you guys have seen Pulp Fiction, I absolutely love that scene of that diner. So then it doesn't go away. So he found ways to channel that addiction into things that were productive, into his work, into his calling, into helping people release themselves from suffering. So how can you use that addictive pattern into something that excites you? So I channel it into service. I channel it into coaching. I channel it into the beings I serve. I channel it into exercise. I channel it into making these videos. I channel it. Addiction is just so much life force. Like you have so much sensual energy, sacral energy, sexual energy, creativity, excitement. So either you feel guilt and shame and you suppress it, or you overly express it and then you feel guilt and shame for overly expressing it, going on a bender, watching too much TV, calling somebody an ex-partner or ex-boyfriend and then indulging into something that was no longer good for you and you already had said no to that door. Just coming to any ideas of past lives, things that I've done. Everything here, it's me talking to myself. So, what else? So instead of feeling the guilt and the shame, use the addiction, the addictive personality to do something that's going to move you forward in the person you want to become. And in the teachings of Neville Goddard, it says, you always act as if you're already the person you want to become. And how I have manifested everything in my life has been to place myself in that person, place myself in the end, and then everything that wasn't in alignment with that person that I was crystallizing came up for me to heal and see. So every limiting belief, every addictive behavior, every pattern came up for me to clean up. So it's kind of saying you wake up, you clean up, and you grow up. And I think I heard that from Frank Jan, which I also love his videos about enlightenment and self-realization. You just realize that you're just divine consciousness, divine self expressing yourself in your body, and then you need to clean up. You need to find out what is your karmic imprint. In this case, we're talking about addiction, but it can be anything. Codependency, it's another big one. So codependency stems from a sense of lack. I believe I'm lacking, so I'm going to be codependent to this person because I'm not going to be able to create another dynamic or relationship in which we both can thrive in inter-co-creation. And I heard this from a woman here in Banao. She's really cool, a type of like shaman. She guides healing circles and ceremonies. And I was like, I don't enjoy codependency. I have shifted into interdependency. She's like, no, not dependency of any kind, inter-co-creation. So this is another pattern that can be addictive, and you can ask yourself this question: where in my life do I find myself in relationships from a sense of lack? You have free will. You can choose anything. And even when you feel like you're in a void and you're scared of letting go of relationships or patterns or things that no longer serve you, you can choose to take a moment to cut those cords, and then there's space. There's space for the new. Right now, I have amazing friendships, connections, relationship, business partnerships in my life that didn't exist 3 months ago. All these people appeared out of thin air because I allowed myself to trust. Infinite trust, infinite faith. I'm just gonna keep doing what my heart tells me, what lifts me up. And then all these new beings appeared in my life as a reflection of my newfound self. And if I would have freaked out and not trust myself in the moments where everything was empty and it was just me, I'm like, okay, I let go of everyone and everything in my past, now what? You're not gonna be alone in your new realities. When you take the leap of faith, new people appear, new beings appear that are ready to co-create and play with you. And they were always there. So now we're shifting in between addiction and manifestation, but it's all intertwined, because to allow yourself being your highest potential, your ultimate self, the most radiant version of you, the most enlightened, the most actualized, the most loving, the most embodied, the most integrated, It's not only abiding in God consciousness, that's beautiful too. It's about integrating all the debris of the old patterns, of the old self. So, addiction, codependency, shame, guilt, fear. Think about all the lower frequencies, anger, frustration. And we need to be comfortable and have the space for all of these energies and frequencies to abide simultaneously as we anchor more of who we are. And then there's space to focus on your service. How do you wish to show up in the world? What is your calling? What is the extension of that love? And it's usually people enjoying your highest bliss. For me, it's people being free of fear, people being in their passion, people seeing clearly, people realizing themselves as God consciousness and using that as to be the most exciting, potent, creative expression on the physical plane. To be the best human they can be, knowing they're not really human. So it's kind of like a paradox. So to wrap this up, because it went all over the place, ask yourself, what are my addictive tendencies? Am I falling into patterns? Am I choosing to do things out of fear or lack? Am I escaping, trying to escape reality with a cigarette or a drink or a TV show or a person? What am I doing out of overcompensation? And if I wish to do any of these things that society sometimes label as bad, it's okay to do them. Can I give myself permission to smoke, to drink, to indulge in a relationship, in a friend, in a partnership, knowing that I'm choosing to do that out of joy and then not feel the shame and the guilt, choosing to do that out of, I'm going to enjoy this fully. And whenever I choose not to do it, I'm going to choose not to do it and fully do something else, like work out, things that society says it's okay. Work out, work on your business, work in your job, be a good mother, be a good father, be a good spouse, be a good daughter, cook for someone, be of service, all the things that are supposedly good. So don't fall into any spectrums, neither good and neither bad. You can be both and neither. Everything is okay. It's about living in the sweet cheesecake. That's how I call it. Living in the sweet paradox, where you can do all the things that you enjoy from joy, and you can do all the things that you enjoy too that are of service from joy. Because if you deprive yourself, then you're going to be suppressed. And if you overly do them, then you're going to be out of balance. So the whole conversation comes back to balance, to be able to be the divine self, the innocent, loving child, the human, and meeting the middle where Christ consciousness and God consciousness can open your heart. So you do all of these activities in flow. And that's the channel message of the day. I'm thinking about a new system for my new offerings, and I feel that what's most aligned is to have discovery calls to see if anybody here that feels magnetized to these channelings, that feels resonance with me, can be a good fit for these new offerings. So we can do a 15 to 20 minute discovery call to see where you're at, to see what you want to co-create in your life, to see what patterns you wish to let go of, and to see if we're a good fit to work together. And usually there's haven't thought about that yet. I'm thinking about it in real time. Limited spaces with the amount of people I can work for a period of time, because I go really deep into the transformation, so I cannot say yes to everybody. But what I can do is I can meet everybody. So if you feel called to have one of those discovery calls, I'm going to put a link in the description. And it says coaching call because I haven't done the tag yet. I'm going to do one that says discovery call and perhaps put 15-20 minutes. It says 60 minutes. We're going to close the call before that. And you can book it there. It's going to say it's only allowed through payment. But if you watch this video and that's why you're there, it's okay. You can book it, and it would be an honor to meet you and see where we aligned. Bye, my friend.